Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's been an awful long time, well not that long, it's been about a month-ish, a little bit longer. Back in a little way, so found a little bit of time to do an update, which obviously we're doing now. So first off, we've got a handful of builds that are left over from when I took a short break. So we've got the P40, the Firefly, which is here, which is all but done, if I'm honest, and the Sherman Easy 8. Now, I hope over the weekend to at least get the Firefly some pictures taken and putting it up. It is a basic build. I'm not going to do much more to it now, certainly because there's been such a break, but it's fine. The P40 is only really an hour away, if not an evening session, and that's done, so I'll see if I can get around that as well. The Easy 8 is a little bit long in the tooth, unfortunately, but I don't think we're going to worry too much about that one. He'll be out when he's done. So sorry there was a slight break in the progress on those, but that'll be sorted. So we're here in lockdown still, so not to go on too much about it, but it's affected me personally, meaning that I've got a lot more work, which is a good thing. Could have gone either way with work. Could have been an awful lot of videos because I've got nothing to do and the business would probably be done. It's gone the other way, which is good. It's not like we're making tons of money or anything, but it means that we're keeping busy in a different way. So if you don't know a little bit of backstory, we get a bit personal, so I'll let you into what I do. So my job, I run a wholesale plant nursery. Wholesale meaning obviously we sell to the people who sell to the retail, and they all shut whenever it was, beginning of March. All the garden centres shut, landscapers pretty much stopped, so that kind of stopped my business right there and then. I know it affects a lot of people, this is just how it affected me personally, everyone's quite different. Of course, from that point of view, I did wonder what on earth I was going to do, because if there's no money or help for horticulture, you know, why would there be really? There's no need for it, is there? So a little bit of quick thinking, a lot of late nights and extra work, and I managed to move on to retail. So we're actually selling plants to the public through our website, which was on the back burner, so I only managed to just about do it because I'd already had the website. So it was quite lucky. It just took about a week's worth of work to get it all up and running. So that was 1 week gone, and then much to my surprise, it took off a little bit, so there was plenty of orders. So then that was another week sorting those out. Then that brings us to like the middle to the end of March, and then there was just this 2-week backlog that no matter how much I did, I just could not clear the backlog. It was awful. It's just like so much of my work is like this hobby. It's unbelievable. It's like leading times, the amount you got to do to actually get to the final product. There's small work when we're propagating and doing seeds. Oh, it's just everything is, there's very many similarities and a lot of stages that go through. And now it's like the stash, you know, all my plants in the ground, I'm trying to shift through them, and it's just shift through some and it grows again and on it goes. It's very similar. Anyway, long and short of it is I've just about cleared the backlog. So you know, we had quite a lot of orders and now it's come down to a manageable amount. With all of that, I had a nursery to run, which was a job in itself, because we've had the most ridiculous Easter period and early spring weather that we're ever, well, as we seem to have had in the last 20 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. So there you go. I've been watering and stood at a bench wrapping plants in cardboard for about 4 weeks, and couldn't really do much when I got home, if I'm honest. So there we go. That did kill this a little bit. However, we've hit that mountain down a little bit. There's a bit more help coming in to nursery as well, so I should be not as sort of flat out. Obviously, just me. It was a team of 5 before, so there's a few of us coming back now. So everything's kind of progressing on nicely. So that's that side of things gone. If you're interested, it'd be rude of me not to. If you want to buy plants in the UK, championplants.co.uk. Have a look. You can buy them straight from me. There you go. It'd help me out. Little plug. So now on to modelling. We are. As I discussed, we've got Sherman, the 2 Shermans and the P40, so we're going to clear through them. They'll be out with you soon. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is, as much as it's an update, not a lot's happened. we're also going to have a look at this, which has just arrived. I'm not going to do a full review, just going to crack the box, let you know my ideas on it. I had a look at it. Some things very impressive, some things a little bit of a disappointment. All in all, pros and cons, and I'll tell you why I think it is what it is as we have a look. So we'll get on the bench in a second. All there is left to say really is we've gone over 8,000 subscribers, which is brilliant. So that's fantastic. Unfortunately, I'd like to make a bit more of a big deal of it when we go over the 1,000 mark, but this one sort of came when I was busy, as I said. So thanks to everyone who's subscribed. There will be content. The channel's a bit funny in the minute. We've had a whole rush of stuff through sort of February and March, and then it's gone dead. There'll be a bit more coming back now. I'm going to probably do a few more reviews. I've got a number of builds on the go. Hint hint. Things that haven't moved anywhere, unfortunately, but they will do. They get sorted. I've been doing the odd thing in the background that I know how to put together with my eyes shut, so you know, that's been happening as well. So it's not been completely stopped in here, and we will get on forward. We will move forward. I have been buying kits as well, as you know, what on earth else have we got to do? So there's some different things that may make an inbox review at some point. So there we go. Thanks for staying tuned. Now let's have a look on the bench. Right, so here we are. We are on the bench, and we have this BF 108 Profi Pack Edition from Eduard in 1/32 scale. Now this thing pretty much came out of nowhere rather quickly, but it has been in the works for quite a while. I've had, I forget who the original kit is now, but I had them marked, as it were. I knew there was a 1/32 108 floating around, but that was a long time ago. I'd never thought Eduard would actually pick the moulds up. I think they did a bit of work on them, but we're getting to that, so that's what we're here for. So first off, let's start with the good things. This was £32 off of Hannant's, and I think the retail is a little bit more, because I got it, because I put it on back order, so I think I got 10% off. So let's say it's about 35 quid, right? For a 1/32 scale kit. So that's very good. We do have the masks. We do have a nice big fret of etch. And we do have some very nice decals, which are printed by Eduard themselves, which I prefer. Now, I've seen mixed reports of these. I must admit, their own decals. Every one I've used, it's ridiculous. It sinks right down into any recessed detail without any issue. But some people have said that the printing quality is not that good or anything. I must admit, these look absolutely fine. I know we've got the carrier film, but there's nothing wrong there at all. Well, this is why we're here. Let's have a look. Let's get it out. So we've got that. So we're talking about the pros, and already, remember that this thing is the price, more or less, of one of the brand new Profi packs. So, you know, when the oh dear, Jason. When the 190s came out, I think I paid £34 for the A4 that came out, that we did on the channel a while ago. Some of their later 109s are a similar price, so, you know, we can't knock it on the price front, so I think I've covered that. So here we go. Right, let's get the carrier film off and have a look. Well, there's nothing wrong there at all. I must admit, the carrier film looks quite heavy, but, well, that's maybe these are cartograph, I don't know. They don't actually look like, oh, I had a set here, I've just packed them away. They don't look like ones that I have had printed from Eduard, because usually there's no carrier film, whereas here, that N is one big block. Okay, well, we'll reserve judgment on that. Let's wait until well, I won't be using any of these. Or will I? I can't remember that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. But nevertheless, I will try some. Not that I'm going to commit myself to any builds. I've done that enough already and not started any of them. But you know, if I build this, I'll certainly let you know how I get on, and I will try some of these decals on a bit of scrap plastic, if nothing else. I do have another one of these coming, so a couple of friends have put in an order into Eduard, because they've got the overtrees on there, which is still there. And I've got one of these again coming because I'm going to build one of these that doesn't use any markings. So I thought it made sense to use these markings on another one. And an E1 and an E3, 109, because you know you can't have enough in 1/32 scale. And a Spitfire Mark 8, which might surprise some of you. So that'll all be interesting when that turns up. Now, first off, these clear parts. Now I've got 2 sets of these, and that's because they were kind of hooked together. As I opened them, there's a hole in the bag where this one was sort of hooked to it like that. So I think if someone's grabbed it, they've just taken 2. So not complaining about that at all. So let's get the box out of the way. I seem to be lucky with things like this at the minute. I tend to get 2s of everything. Now these clear parts are extremely good. Now they are absolutely crystal clear, and Eduard or whoever has designed this has learnt from previous look like their 48 version, and you've got the 2 windows that can open as well, and then you've got this rear section which is the fixed bit. So you see that kind of that bit there, so that's where they lock in. These parts here are the doors, and they fold right forward over the windscreen. So if you've got this section, this bit and this bit open up like that, so it looks quite weird. So that should make for quite an interesting thing. So there we go, very, very clear, crystal clear canopy. So that's brilliant. I mean, I cannot fault this. There's raised rivet detail, there's no burring, there's no anything like that, and like I said, I've got 2. So we can't complain at that, but, and there you might sense there is a but coming. Now we get on to the plastic, and this is where it isn't quite. If you were buying this thinking, right, you know, I've had the new Eduard Mustang and we've had the 109s and I've been absolutely loving everything they've been bringing out. This is not a brand new Eduard kit, okay? Don't think of it like this. This is more in line with an extremely good short run kit, I would say, on first look. Now the fit might actually be a lot better than that would make you think, but there is quite a texture to some of the parts, and so we got the exhaust here. Now, prime example, Eduard, now if they were making this, there wouldn't be any of these pegs on it, or I forget what they're called now, these little nibs, and the exhaust would be hollowed out, which they are absolutely not here. And this is quite sort of heavy, and it's got a great big parting line down the middle. So that sort of thing you've got to think of. And some of the details a little bit soft, like on these chairs. It's, I don't know, it's a little bit soft. Absolutely no problem. But I mean, the engine again as well. I mean, it's not what you'd expect. It's not what you'd expect, and the plastic is almost identical to like the dark grey Airfix plastic that they do. It seems very similar, and unfortunately it shares the trait that every sort of smooth bit, like here, is has sort of a texture to it, like sort of raised. I'm sure if you just went over it with a sanding stick it would be gone, but it is there. The wheels are quite poor. I did notice that on Hannon's. Every single accessory that you can buy for this is sold out. So you've got the 2-part wheels. Again, that's not the way Eduard would usually do it. Nothing like this. Usually you'd get the whole rubber tyre as a separate thing. Not rubber, but it would be separate. And then the hub detail would be as a hole in the middle. So it's quite different. So that's one part. And then we're on to the next small part, which has a few more bits for the engine. It's very similar to the 1/48 kit. It's not quite just a scaled up version, but it is quite similar. So we've got the engine, the cylinder blocks here. I think that's what they're called. It's been a long time since I've thought about trying to say anything related to aircraft. Obviously have a parting seam again running down the side. It's, like I said, just think of it as a very good short run kit. and then you won't be disappointed, because it is pretty good. It's pretty good. And you've got to remember the price that you're paying for it. So with all of that in mind, and you've got all of this extra stuff here, it's a very, very good deal. If we were paying £50–60 for this, not so good. £30, brilliant. So you're still on the right side of it. It is a good deal. But you just got to bear in mind that you're buying something that is not quite what Eduard would sort of be expected to bring out at this sort of stage in their well, life cycle. They're a bit better than what this kit is, but obviously this the design work it's gone into this was probably a few years ago by the looks of it. Now here the texture is probably easiest to see. I don't know if we're going to pick it up on camera. Maybe, maybe not, but it is there. There is a noticeable texture, and it's not just the plastic, you can feel it. However, I'm sure, again, sanding stick, just whipped over that, it would soon be gone. But just bear in mind, it's something you're going to have to do if you want to clear it up. No rivet detail either, which I'm not concerned about, but some people might be a bit annoyed. Whereas if you sort of compare it to the 109s that they've done in 1/32 scale, you could make that argument. But personally, I mean, I think it's brilliant that Eduard are back in the 1/32 scale again. Absolutely brilliant. With quite a fitting subject for to match their 109s. So there we go, we got the wings there. Now I have seen some stuff online where people have sort of taped it together, and it does look to be, the fit looks to be pretty good. So now let's have a look at the fuselage halves. So there we go. Similar thing again, it's very much like the 48th kit, but that texture sort of gets worse in some places on the fuselage here. So all looks very good there. And then this is another thing, you see, this is, you just wouldn't expect that now from Eduard, that great big ejector pin mark there, in a place that is a little bit tough to get rid of, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. So my what I'm going to do with this, I alluded to earlier, so I'm going to build one of these, just closed cockpit as the one of the Spanish Civil War ones, which I've done before. I've done a version of it before in 48, and it's a bit questionable what colour they were. I mean, they were blue or they were grey or a number of different colours, but I'm going to do one of those anyway because I think it'd be quite impressive in 32nd scale. And then I'm going to do another one that isn't. And what actually sold this kit to me, so there we are, we've got flaps, ailerons and elevators. Oh, and rudders. So there we go, a few different options. Why I'm going to do that and what sold it for me is the inclusion of this, the resin wooden propeller. And now the Spanish ones all had wooden props. So, I mean, you've got to use them to do it. Now, interestingly, we've got one more sprue. Before I go into this, let's just have a look at the last sprue. This is Cockpit Detail, the metal propeller, and the tub there. So that's the floor. So nice stuff, nice stuff. It's all okay, it's all got the texture over it. It's fine, it's basic, it's fine. To repeat myself one more time, think of a very good short run kit with Eduard extras. That's what you're getting. So back to the wooden propeller. So I mean, the inclusion of this, again, for this price, 35 quid as we're saying. I mean, you've got this, you've got the photo etch, the masks, and a resin wooden prop. I mean, you can't ask for much more. So that's good, and so I can use that for my Spanish one. And then the one with the overtrees, I'll just build it as one of these out of the box, and actually probably use some of the extras. So I don't know which one I'll do first, if I'm honest, but that wouldn't probably saved for the Spanish one. I'll probably leave this for the one that comes with the overtrees, and just use that on that basic build, and then use the extras in this one from the decal sheet. Now, interestingly, this really surprised me, to be honest, and it answers the question as to why this is in here. When you look at it, out of all of the marking options, it's only the A variant that actually has the metal prop. All the others are the wooden prop. So as you go through, this is a wooden prop one, and so are those two, and that one. So you certainly get your use out of it, and it's good to have. So there you go. That leaves me with the prop. Well, it's the pick of the bunch. Let's be honest. I mean, that's the one you'd go for, isn't it? It's a classic scheme. It's well known, and it's it just looks brilliant. So that's the one I'll be building when I actually get around to this. Looks brilliant. So there we go. Typical stuff in the instructions. Nothing to worry about. It's all there. You've got a full engine that you can't really expose realistically, because it's all sort of shut up there, as you can see. You'd have to cut some of these panels away. You see the engine a tiny bit from the front, I believe. When you put the cover on here, there's a great big hole there, so you see it underneath. See a bit of the engine there. So there we go. That is the BF 108 from Eduard. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. A little bit of a jump back into things for the channel. Like I said, things will be on the way. Mr. Firefly Sherman is not far away, and we've got a video up. So there we go. We're back in May 2020. So thanks everyone for tuning in. If you like what you see, as always, please let me know in the comments below. And again, thanks for getting me over 8,000. Let's hope we can continue to grow the channel through this year. Hope everyone's keeping safe, continuing to model, and I'll see you in the next video.